How's it going? This is Brian. I'm getting ready to go try out this guide rod that I put in here the other day on this Ruger, the new one. So I head over to the range, put some rounds through it with a little bit of time. So let me grab the Ruger, throw it back in my pocket. I think I'm gonna bring my 42, just because I'll just make this a 380 session. Let's see. Let's grab a few boxes of Fiocchi and some Crit Defense. Let's see, that's 100, or let's grab 100 of those. And grab a couple of these. And how about a box of white box Winchester? All right, here's the LCP with the new guide rod and springs in it. A couple extra mags. How's it going? This is Brian. It's Friday, November 30th, 2018, and I just replaced the guide rod last week in this LCP with the springs. So I took it to the range for the first time, and between this 380 and my Glock 42, I put 212 rounds. 100 of the Fiocchi XTP with the Hornady XTP bullet, and the 112 of the Hornady Crit Defense. So I'm just going to do a quick cleaning video and just get right to the point. So the gun is clear. I'll keep the Ruger stuff on the Ruger mat. Pop the pin out. And it seemed to shoot very well, no issues. I'm still actually waiting for Ruger to get back with me about the barrel, because of the excessive wear on the inside of the barrel. And hopefully they'll get back with me, because it is wore down pretty good. I couldn't really pick it up the other day when I tried doing it, so I don't know. Of course it's dirty too, but let's see. But yeah, the rifling is almost gone, at least half of an inch or so. So hopefully they get back with me. Be a little disappointed if they didn't. So anyways, I get the holsters out of the way. All my ammo is out of the way over here, so I don't have any problems. Get the mags out of the way. And I like to use some paper towels, or if you got some old rags or towels laying around. And then quick scrub, like the quick scrub. I've been using this stuff for years. Just spray it down really nice. Stuff breaks down all that grime really well. Make sure you get the barrel. Okay, and then we'll do the frame. Make sure I get both sides of the frame, and definitely down into the mag well too. Notice if you let that go for too long, there'll be a lot of buildup in there. Alright. And all we do with these is just wipe them dry, or if you got an air compressor handy, I like to take and blow all the dirt out of these. Kind of dry them up. Here's your disassembly pen. You should clean that off too. Makes it easier to take it in and out when it doesn't build up. Alright. I like to use either the brass brush or the nylon brush, depending on how bad it's built up. But I just got a new set of Otis brushes. It came with 3 of each. So we'll try to go ahead and use the nylon brush first. But I noticed sometimes on the inside of the breech face here, and also on the barrel, I like to use the brass. It seems to do a really good job. Make sure you get inside where the top of the barrel sits in the chamber. Looks good. Okay, looks good. Let's do the frame. I like to take the magwell mop and brush and just stick them in there and get some of the loose debris out of there. Run the mop in there too. Okay. Barrel. This one I like to stick with the brass. Make sure you get all of this cleaned up nice in here. Especially the feed ramp. Okay, looks good. I'll take your bore brush. It's nice and clean. And then run a mop in there. Let's see, I should have a mop in here already on it. Or I took it apart for some reason. Oh, right here. Okay, and that's nice and clean. And then what I like to do when I'm putting it back together is make sure I put a little dab of oil, and I like this Lucas Extreme Duty. I like the little needle and everything, and it's fairly inexpensive. I also like the Rem oil too, which I don't have any in here right now, but I'm going to take and put a little bit on here. And wipe that in. Make sure I get the whole thing. Especially for these guns being my two favorite pocket guns, they seem to see a lot of sweat and moisture from being sitting in pockets in undesirable places for a long time. It's not like my 19X or some of my bigger guns that go into a belt holster. This one actually seems to see more abuse than what the belt holstered guns would do when these are sitting in a pocket. So I got a nice layer of oil on there, and it's just enough to soak into the metal. It's not excessive on the oil. It just has a nice film on there, just a smooth layer of the oil. And then we'll go ahead and put some on the mop. Put just a drop on the mop and run that through. And that looks good. That's nice and clean. Even though the rifling looks bad, the barrel itself is clean. Okay, I'm gonna move all this debris, and this was only from, well, between the two I put 212 rounds through there, with what was loaded in the mags, and then the ammo I brought. So you can see that's the dirt that just came out of there, and I usually keep these things nice and clean. So that's just from, and this was not cheap stuff either. This is the Crit Defense Hornady and the Fiocchi Hornady XTP load that they make. So that's all clean here with the barrel. So let's put this back together and put a dab of oil in here. And then guide rod. And make sure that this is sitting in here properly. The springs and the head with this. You don't want to have any problems when you put this back together. So it's all sitting in there nice and flat. And I like to put a little bit of oil on this rail on both sides. Just a dab. I've never had a problem with it accumulating dirt sitting in my pocket. Seems to do pretty good. It's not like dirt's jamming up inside of there. Maybe if I was rolling around on the beach or something, I would have a problem, but okay. Put the pin back in here. Alright, now I like to put a little dab on top and wipe that in. Get the slide. Okay, very good. And that's the LCP. Feels nice and smooth. Now with the mags, now this is all clean, so I'm going to just set it off to the side here for a minute. Now with the mags, I like to just, you're not supposed to put oil on them, because obviously you're going to build up dirt on there, so I like to just wipe them with the dry part of the cloth. And if you feel the need to, you can also pop the bottoms of these off. I just use the bottom of the mop or whatever you have. Just push the little button in here and then be careful to slide it off carefully so that it doesn't come flying apart. Pop it apart. There's your spring, and you can take the follower out. They look fairly clean. I don't take them apart. Maybe I've taken them apart a couple times, but I don't like pulling them apart for no reason whatsoever. But you could always take a nice clean mop or something and run it in there, I guess, if you're worried about it. Here's one that sort of fits in there. So maybe it's a little bit too big. Let's try this one. You just run a mop in there and wipe it out a little bit if you're worried about it. Okay. Put that back together. Fairly easy to take apart. Just push it back on there. But for the most part, I just like to wipe them down. If it feels like they're starting to get hung up when you load them, then take them apart and clean them. Okay, that one's clean. These are the 7-rounders. I do like them. I know people are complaining about them not feeding properly, but I haven't had any problems with them. So maybe theirs were older ones that had different springs in there. I'm not sure. But I haven't any specific problems to the extra round. The spring is a little bit longer, but I haven't had any issues with them not feeding properly. Of course, they are overpriced, I think, for what you get. And it's funny, the original 6-rounders that came with the gun are made in Italy. This is the way they were in 2009, the 2 original ones I have, and then the 2 new ones are made in USA. So I don't know if they decided to not get them from wherever they were getting them from before or whatever, but okay. So that is the LCP, all clean and oiled, ready to go back in my pocket. So let's go ahead and load her back up. I like using this Hornady for the most part. The crit defense, its stuff has been flawless compared to some of the other stuff with the wider mouths on it. So this holds 7 in these longer mags. So I'll toss 7 in there. That's 7. I'll put this one in away into this little cover, which I really like for extended carry sessions. Keeps the dirt out of there, and it's easy to get it out too, so it doesn't hang up in there. So I got that. Put that out of the way. And then these 6-rounders were the original ones that came with it. Six-rounder, another 6-rounder. Okay, that's a 6-rounder. And this is a 7-rounder. And that's one box right there. And let's get the other box out. Okay, there you have it. 7 rounds plus the 1 in the chamber. There's your 8 rounds. I like this rough side out Galco pocket holster. About $65 or something on the Galco website. I really like it. And this is the more expensive version of the pocket holster. The one I have my Glock 42 in is the $40 one. This is the one that's basically rough on both sides. It's a cheaper piece of leather. This one is really nice. It has the smooth on the inside to make it really slick to draw it. So yes. So there we have it. I'm gonna move this gun over here out of the way. So basically with the 2 7-rounders, you've got 15 rounds in your pocket of .380. So I mean, yeah, it's not 10mm 44 Magnum or whatever, but for the size, you cannot beat this thing. It's definitely one of my favorites, and so is this Glock 42. I love being able to just toss something in my pocket. It doesn't make me feel like I have to dress special. I can just wear comfortable clothing, and I don't have to wear fancy belts and everything to help hold the holsters on. So anyways, for 15 rounds of .380 in your pocket, and if you decided to want to carry a couple extra mags or something, I mean, you've got 22 rounds of .380 right here. Just toss them in your pocket and go. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for. So anyways, I move this over to the side. And now let's do the Glock. And move this holster out of the way. I also have some of the mag holsters too, like this, that fit in your pocket for these mags. And I actually have my Glock 43, the 9mm version of this, has the spare mag in that holster right now. It just fits in your pocket. If you go on the Galco site, it looks like it's cut down about here, and the mag just sits inside of there, so you can pull it right out. and it has a screw tensioner on there to hold different size mags in there, which is nice. You can just toss it in your pocket and it keeps it where you can pull it right out. So anyways, the Glock, gun's unloaded. Let's pull it back a little bit and pull this down just like standard, even easier than the Ruger. It's basically the same thing. Guide rod, spring assembly, barrel. Take the quick scrub, and let me get my throwaway paper towels here. Start spraying it down. Both of these guns have been carried probably more than anything else because they're just so convenient. You can toss them in your pocket and go. I mean, what more can you ask for with that? So it's been fantastic that they came out with these little things, because I've been carrying for 16 years, and I'll tell you, even carrying small 45s and J frames, sometimes it just seems like it's too much. These little through pocket 380s are a wonder, especially when you like to wear shorts a lot and you don't want to have to be tied down to belts. These things fit perfectly in your pocket. So alright, I got that. Spray this guide rod off. Recoil spring assembly, as they call it. Blow that out. Okay. This whole strut away here. I'll do the frame. And die barrel. This gun has hardly any of the dirt accumulation on it like the Ruger does. And I'll tell you, yes, the Ruger is a little snappier with the same ammo. This thing shoots like nothing. I mean, obviously it should be about the same size as 9mm, but neither one of them are out of control as far as recoil goes. It's not like either one of these things is shooting a 454 or something. Alright, and there we have it. Let's scrub this barrel out real quick. Very nice. Okay. let's go ahead and this is all cleaned and move these out of the way and throw this stuff off to the side. Alright. This one, same type of thing. I like to put a little bit of lube in here. You can see where it wears in the top of the chamber on the barrel, which I also put the drop on her afterwards. I believe it's on the Glock lubrication where it shows slide lubrication. They're all the same thing. Put a little bit in there and put a drop in there. Okay. And then this, we're going to use the mop again. If I can, here it is right here. A little oil on there. Just a drop. Don't want it to be saturated. Just enough to make it not dry. It's not going to accumulate extra dirt and lint, but it'll be just so it's not dry also. Yeah, looks good. Looks real good. Okay, stick that in there. Got your recoil spring assembly. Make sure that's sitting in there correct. There. There's a little groove for it where it sits in. If you can actually overshoot it just a touch where it doesn't sit in there right, so you want to make sure that it's sitting in the little groove for it when you put it back together. There's actually a little circular cutout in the bottom of the barrel, so it should be sitting in there properly like that. Okay, same thing with the frame. Go ahead and mop it real quick. Make sure there's no dirt in there. Looks good. Pull this out. Alright. And I like to put a little dab on these frame supports. Okay. And put this back together. Is just as easy as pulling it back. Okay. Feels good. And put the little dab of oil on top of here and work it in. And then I will use a new cloth and put a light film of oil on here. Most of this oil gets wore off in the holster anyways by the next time I take it to shoot it, so it's basically just cosmetic for me. Alright, and that is that. Okay, now for the Glock mags. The Glock mags come apart for cleaning too. They have these sets of these GTUL. I don't know, I bought these separately, but I couldn't find them in a set, but since I have all the different calibers of Glocks, I figured I might as well just order all the different colors. They got the bigger one is for 10mm and 45. This one's for 9 and 40. and this is for specifically for the Glock 42 and the Glock 43, and I own both the Glock 42 and the Glock 43, so I'll just have the whole set. But these are convenient if you need to take it apart for cleaning again, which really there's no cleaning on here except for wiping it down. They specifically, you don't want to put oil on here to accumulate more dirt. But I do like to wipe off the follower and around the top where you get most of your residue buildup on there. But if you do need to take them apart, these do make it very handy. You can just slide these on here, and they have just a little bit of a protrusion on here, just enough to give you enough squeeze on this to pop these off, because they have a little catch on here. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm sure you've already seen other videos. There's a little catch. It's down here on the bottom. There's little teeth on here that are on the magazine. Let's see if I can pick this thing up or not. But anyways, there's little teeth. I'll take it apart and show you. And all this thing does is helps you clamp it together. So just slide this on here, and you just push it all the way in forward to the front of the mag, and with those little protrusions at the bottom where you need to squeeze it, just basically assists you from squeezing it, because you would have to have a hell of a grip to do this on your own, and it gives you just enough room to not damage them. Like if you put a C-clamp on here, you can squeeze this together just enough to get this off. So I can just use the bottom of a mop or whatever you have, push the button down and squeeze this together and slide this off just enough. Okay, there we go. And I've taken apart my 42s and 43s, and I know just 42s are probably the harder ones to take apart, these ones. So anyways, now that I've got it started, I can just take this tool back off. And that's it. Just a piece of plastic. It's got the little protrusions on there. These things are pretty cheap. So now that I got it coming off, just got to be careful that not to release the spring and the plastic piece on the bottom. So there we go. There's your insert. There's your spring, and there's your follower, and that's it. And I know there's a bunch of aftermarket base plates with extensions and the higher power springs and all that. I don't know if I want to go that route with this gun. I kind of like the size it is right now for what I use it for tossing in my pocket. But now you can see those little protrusions on there. The reason why you need that tool. Let's see. Where's it at on there? Right there. Yeah, it has them on both sides, so you pretty much have to squeeze it together. I know some of the base plates you actually have to cut those off or grind them off. I don't know about that. I know the couple of them that I've looked at, you can leave them on there. So maybe I'll try an extension. They just seem expensive for what you get. Plus the size of it, I like the gun just the way it is right here. I don't want to add anything extra onto it. Not for the pocket gun. I don't care if this is a holstered gun that has a 4-inch extension off the bottom, but this is fine right here. I mean, shooting this thing one-handed anyways, because you're probably going to be holding somebody back when you take this thing out of your pocket. This isn't going to be, I'm going to go storming into a drug house with this little gun, or running across the parking lot 100 yards away chasing after somebody. This is pretty much going to be, I need to hold somebody back with my arm and hopefully get this out of my pocket in time to save my life. So this doesn't really need to have 100-round extensions coming out of the bottom of it, big huge things. This is pretty much emergency tool kit for your pocket. So anyways, that's just my opinion. I'm not SWAT, and you sure as heck wouldn't use this to go doing anything. If I see somebody walking somewhere with an AR, it's not going to be something I'd go running after them with, unless they were threatening my life. So just pop this back on and then slide this back on. You don't need that tool to put this back together, because all you got to do is push it back over those tabs. There, snapped it right back on. That's it. But if you need to, you can always use a mop or something and brush these out. Very specific about saying don't use oil on these. There's really no reason to. You just wipe them out. The springs wear out, clean it out. I've even taken a quick scrub before and taken these apart and sprayed it out nice and let them dry. So it helps clean them out quite a bit. So anyways, I just like to get the dirt off top. And that is that. And even this one with the pinky extension on here for this 42, sometimes it's too big to fit into my pocket properly. I like to have the flat base magazines on there, especially if you're wearing shorts. This right here is perfect. Can't get my pinky on there, but who cares? That's not what this gun's for. This isn't for target shooting. This is for, hey, I'm gonna have to hold you back with your gun or knife off of my body so that I can hopefully get this up and stop you with it before you kill me. This isn't, I'm gonna go running in, barging in through a business or something on a drug raid or whatever. That's not what this is for. So to have this extra little bit, whatever, it's gonna be pulled out and it's gonna be used at pretty much arm's length anyways. So, same thing, the reason why I really like this LCP. The sights are pretty much irrelevant. Heck, I've even had a Kimber custom carry with a 3.5 inch barrel or 3 inch barrel that had no sights and it just had a big groove cut into it. And that gun was about $1,300. So, and they decided just to make a groove in the top without any sights, just to make it easier to conceal and to draw from your pocket or whatever. So, I guess you have to depend on what you're doing, but these little pocket guns are not going to be for storming buildings and chasing down criminals with them. It's strictly for what it is. It's for emergency use only. The life-saving tool. Anyways, let me load up. I didn't bring out enough ammo to fill all these up, but get enough to put it back into the holster. There's 6 rounds. Top it off. Here's your 7 rounds. Here's your 8 rounds. This is a 7+1. And this is your 6+1, and with the holsters and everything, because I always see people laying them on their sides and everything, but with the holsters and everything, they're pretty much identical. It's not enough to notice, and with the weight, now maybe with the 6 round, the flush fit magazines on this one, it's probably a little bit lighter, but they're probably even about the same weight this way. Yeah. Both of these things are sweet to conceal. That's all I know. And sometimes I like the Ruger because it doesn't have the sights sticking up, because I notice sometimes even this will snag on the inside of the pocket when you're trying to draw it. The way that the sights protrude off there, and this one's got a nice smooth. Of course, I need to get the better pocket holster for this too. I ordered some Mitch Rosin stuff because I have some of their other holsters and I really like them. They make some good stuff. So anyways, I'm going to stop this video now, but this was the LCP test of that new guide rod. It seems to work just fine. I didn't have any issues. I shot through 212 rounds, no ball ammo, even though I did bring a box with me. I decided not to shoot it because that's usually what happens. But I went through 112 of these Hornady critical defense, which I kind of like. I've seen different mixed reviews about the penetration and all that, but I think 10 inches of penetration to a 12 inches of penetration is more than enough for a pocket gun, considering it's going to be used at almost close point blank, 3 yards, 5 yards, whatever. And also I shot through 100 rounds of the Fiocchi with the Hornady XTP bullet in it, which I don't have any out here with me right now. But anyways, all right, thanks a lot. I'm just killing time for my arm surgery that I just had. I had to have my ulnar nerve moved in there. Let's see if we can pick that up. Yeah, right here. So it's still very sore. But yes, I'm just killing some time, making some fun videos, goofing around. All right, thanks. Be safe.